Hey everyone, it is Livecam and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button and hitting that thumbs up. It's a very easy and free way to support the channel and to help it grow. And hey, if you wanted to buy a guy a cup of coffee, there's a PayPal link down below in the description. I'm a one-man show. I do all of this myself, and anything that you would be willing to throw at me, I would be very appreciative of. But let's get to today's camera. Now, today's camera is another one of those cameras that some of you may say boring, not particularly exciting, but to me, this is actually a wonderful camera. This is from way far up north in America, in Alaska, in a place called Healy. Now, it's a very small community, but it's a very interesting camera, and let me tell you why. Let's take a look. Now, as you can see, we are on in CCAM as always. I do love this camera so much, and with so many of the other live cam sites going down, this is becoming a gold mine of free travel around the world. Am I ever going to get to Healy, Alaska in the United States? Probably not, though, to be honest, from where I am in the world right now, it's closer for me to get to Healy than it would be to get to New York or to Los Angeles. I'd probably like Healy a lot better, too. So, looking at the camera here, we are on the HKB Northern Approach. So, this is a small little rural airport at 7:47 p.m. Now, you can see there is a storm a-brewing. It's not the loveliest of weather. It is obviously a live camera based on the trees shuffling back and forth. But Healy is a very small community in Alaska. To be honest, there are not a lot of huge communities in Alaska. It's a very remote and unforgiving place. You have to be a certain kind of person to want to live up in Alaska, though the people that do, from everything that I've heard and the people that I've met that have lived there, they absolutely love it. They absolutely love it. Now, if we take a scroll down a bit here, there's quite a bit of information about Healy. Somebody who posted this camera really went to a lot of effort to share about their community, and that's awesome. I love it when people do this. So Healy is a census designated place, CDP. Census designated place. I guess that means it's just big enough for the census to say, okay, there's enough people there, we have to find out who's living there. In the borough seat of Denali Borough in the United States of in the U.S. state of Alaska. That sounds better. The population was 1,021 at the 2010 census, up from 1,000 in 2000, in the year 2000. So in 10 years it went up by 21 people. 21. So those 1,000 people, a few of them had some babies. That makes sense, right? It does give the entire history of Healy. Healy is intertwined with that of coal mining and construction of the Alaska Railroad. Cool. Which both began in the area in 1918 and 1919 respectively. Healy was originally named Healy Fork after the Healy River. The Healy River was named after Captain John J. Healy, manager of the North American Trading and Transportation Company. The geography, it gives the latitude and longitude. It gives the highway that goes through there, the George Parks Highway, Alaska Route 3. Blah, 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 blah. According to the United States Census Bureau, the Healy CDP has a total of 687 square miles. And blah, blah, blah. It is the second largest, by area, it is the second largest CDP in the United States, exceeded only by Willow, Alaska. Now, I guess that just means that 1,000 people live in a small enough area that the population density is higher. But it's not exactly a huge population density either. But again, let's go back to the camera here. An absolutely lovely camera. You can see the road heading into this little airport. Now, these little airports are the lifeblood of these northern communities, both in Alaska and in Canada, in the Northwest Territories, in Inuvik, places like that, where traditional highways and traditional ways of transporting materials are not as accessible. Now, here there is a railway, obviously, and there is a highway, but when you're going to a smaller community like this, you're not going to get those great big huge supply trucks like they get in the big cities in the southern parts of North America, or the southern parts of Canada even, just because there isn't the population to support it. So when there is an emergency, for example, and somebody needs to get out of town quickly, for example, to a hospital, they would go by plane. When people are bringing supplies in, the supply train or the supply trucks might only come once a month. So these smaller planes, these little Cessnas and things like that, actually provide a lot of service to get specialty items or required items in faster in order to get the people that live there what they need. You know, if there were ever a problem with the trains or with the highway, or for example during COVID, when there was the supply chain issues, it could be that sometimes the trucks would take 2, 3, 4, or even more months to come and resupply these smaller communities. So these little airports can be vital to the survival and comfort of these smaller communities. So this is, although, like I said, some people will say, boring, it's a couple planes in the middle of the forest, this is actually a fantastically interesting location. If a person were lucky and came here at the right time of day, they might actually be able to see a little one of these little planes taking off or settling in, but right now there's not a heck of a lot going on. So yeah, it's a fantastic site. I love this. Again, if we scroll down, as this is in CCAM, it will give us the actual longitude and latitude here. It will give us a map to show us where in Alaska this place is. And surprisingly, there are quite a few cameras in Alaska. If you hover over these, it will give you an idea of what the cameras are. Now, in this situation where nothing pops up, it could be that that camera is down. This is the one we're looking at now. This is another one, the add comment button. It's right over top. That's interesting that this little web feature is right over top of the camera, etc. So this will give you an idea. And also if you scroll down, you'll find other cameras. Now, as you can see, live cameras are tricky business. They go up and down. I run my own live camera of the fascinating and fast-growing construction site next door right here in China. It's very rare. If you want to see that, it is over here. I'll put a link to it over here. You can take a peek, or you can just go to the livecamant main page. It's right there on YouTube. But it's not easy to maintain and keep these cameras rolling 24/7. So by scrolling down, we can find some other live cameras. Beautiful if you're at all into nature, into kind of the beauty of remote locations. These Alaskan cams might be amazing. You never know when you're going to see a bear drinking water, a moose, deer, different wildlife. Would be unbelievably cool to see, and something that you're not going to see on a New York City camera, period. Well, you're going to see a lot of wildlife, but not like this. So an absolutely gorgeous camera. I do love it when people take the time to provide these cameras, because even though, like I said, some people will say, oh, it's just a shitty airport in the middle of nowhere, I find it fascinating. Now, let's do the old in CCAM test and see if we can't get into this camera directly and have a little more functionality. I suspect not. It doesn't seem like the kind of location that would have a full PTZ camera. And as you can see, it does give us access to the Axis Q1614 network camera itself. However, if we hit setup, yeah, it's going to ask for password, so that's not going to work for us. Unauthorized access. So we have quite limited in the options here. Let's see if the light finder, no, that one also is password protected. Zoom level, not a lot of zoom. The Q1614 may just be a basic camera. The interface will be the same for most cameras, or it could be that the owner of this camera has set it up in such a way that they're not giving people control. And like I've mentioned in my past video, that is understandable because sometimes people will mess around with the cameras. If there's no password set on it, they might go in and put their own password on. That way the administrator of the camera would have to physically on site reset the camera, and in a remote location like this, that could be a real pain in the butt. Or they might do stupid things like change the message down here from the HKB Northern Approach with the time and date to FU so and so or whatever, some racist or bigoted statement, and then lock the camera so that, again, if the owner of the camera didn't notice, then they'd just be, you know, people do this as a joke. I see this in CCAM all the time when people don't lock down their cameras, and it's annoying, it's stupid, but it is a reality. So I get it when they shut these things down. But just the fact that it does give us the option to come in here is kind of nice as well. However, in this situation, the larger view is on in CCAM. So once again, this is Healy, or just outside of Healy, at their little local airport. I love this. For aviation fans, this might be a fun place to kind of sit and keep running in the background in order to, with any luck, catch one of these small planes taking off or touching down. You may see a bear or a wolf or any number of wild animals come walking through the area, as there are obviously not a lot of people here, so this might be a place they're more comfortable, and there is a lot of area that you could catch the view of that. You get to see the mountains in the distance. I'm sure on a clear day that it would be even more beautiful. You see the highway over here. Magnificent. I love it. I love these cameras. Is there a location in the world you'd like me to look for a camera? Don't be shy. Let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best to find those cameras. But in the meantime, you all have a fantastic day. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up on your way out, and we will see you in the next video.